Hi everyone. In this video, I am going to talk about again another psychological, family, social health issue related topic, which most people who don't undergo these kind of life challenges don't really understand how difficult it is to lead life with such personalities. I'm going to reference a video where a girl narrates her experience with her being introduced into the family of her fiance. He was a boyfriend first, and later he had proposed to her within a few months or whatever the span of these incidences were. And this is how it unfolds for many people when they come from normal families, but when they are introduced into a family where some family member has undiagnosed mental illnesses or social illnesses. These kind of behavioral patterns emerge with them. So in this story, she narrates about how when she got introduced to her boyfriend's mother, how insulting she was, how she made some snide remarks about her, and many such sly remarks are presented every time this girl is meeting her future mother-in-law. So by the time the whole story progresses, she gets engaged also to the son, and initially the boy is supporting the girlfriend because the boy also knows that his mother is a little intense and can have these episodes. So because if you have lived a life with a parent of this sort, you already know how volatile your parent can be, how aggressive they can be, how rude they can be, how snide they can be, how insulting they can be. But what most children who are raised by parents like this, who have undiagnosed mental and social illnesses, many a times even the children don't realize the extent of the craziness of their parents until later on in life. And if this girl actually ends up, she doesn't know at the end of the story what she should do, but if she ends up marrying this guy, if she ends up having a life of a married life with him because she's pregnant. So if she decides for the sake of her child to get back together with her boyfriend or fiance, there is a major couple of hurdles this girl would have to cross and go through in life, and also might have to realize whether the boyfriend will be sticking to her side throughout the marriage also, because already by the end of the video the boyfriend has flipped and he is supporting his mother. Though in the beginning of the video he was supporting his girlfriend, by the end of the video the narrative has flipped. Why? Because this is what happens when you are when you have been raised by a mentally ill parent, who is likely not diagnosed with mental illness. So everyone assumes that she is a normal woman and a normal mom, but when in fact she isn't. She has some mental illnesses, she has some social illnesses. That's why she was very rude about all the Christmas related comments she made and how she assaulted the girl. All these things are signs of mental illnesses, but if a doctor doesn't come and diagnose and say this is a mental illness, until then that mental illness doesn't get documented anywhere. And even if a doctor would have said that she has a mental illness, in our society currently, I don't earlier, like maybe 50 years back, 100 years back, there used to be mental health institutes where such women could be taken. But nowadays, there are no such mental health institutionalized places where these kind of gray zone people can be taken. Only when someone has really repeated episodes of like the how she attacked this girl in this story, if she continues to attack this girl and there is a proven case continuously that she is harmful to others, then only usually police and doctors and family intervene and get a person like this institutionalized. Otherwise, most of the time, like how the boyfriend is now defending his mom, he is saying to the girlfriend to drop the charges against the mom, even though the mom has really assaulted her and done physical injury to her. Despite that, the boy is supporting his mom. And this is the problem when you have a mentally ill person who has raised you, and the child who has been raised by a mentally ill person. Even if the child doesn't know that they were raised by a mentally ill person, they might think, okay, my mother is a little crazy or something, or occasionally has these bouts of rage. But the child has normalized the bouts of rage of the mother. So, to outside normal people leading normal lives, if someone attacks you, that is definitely a thing worth complaining about to the cops, right? Which is what the girl has done. She filed for restraining order. She has done exactly what she should be doing as a normal adult to protect herself. But even though she's doing something to protect herself, and this is a story which I am assuming has happened somewhere in US, but if this storyline was unfolding in India, many women I know personally who have gone through these situations. I myself went through something like this, and I have tried to complain about my issues. But despite me trying to complain about it, until people can prove that the person who is attacking me, who is really crazy, is actually crazy and has been doing crazy things for many, many years, until I get the actual proof in a country like India, I can't even get a restraining order. I can't even get a support from people in my family life and friendship circle to help me even move away from a abusive situation. Even though my life has been in very similar situation like this girl's, except that I don't have a black eye. But it's not that I never had a black eye like situation. One time I had been beaten black and blue all over my arms and back. I had markings from a rod that was used on me. Why? Because like how this mother-in-law suddenly flew into a rage and attacked this future mother-in-law, or whatever, however you want to categorize her as, like how she attacked this girl just because she saw a Christmas tree and well decorated Christmas tree, and whatever crazy stuff was going on with her, she suddenly attacked her, right? Similarly, I had done something in my home and I was attacked like that. And it has been a couple of times that as a child I had been attacked. At that time I couldn't complain and I didn't know what to do, because this was my caretaker. As an adult also, right now I have cancer and I don't know which thing I should fight first. So because I'm in a dilemma of which situation I should try to resolve first, I'm stuck. But even though I try to resolve many things related to my life associated with such kind of crazy parental behavior, I also know the conflict of this boy, that when he feels conflicted, that when against his mother, a complaint was put against to the cops, he's defending his abusive mother. He's defending a mother who has actually physically attacked someone. Now this is the part that many children who get abused by a crazy parent get into this conflict zone. I also have the same conflict zone. It has taken me 40 years to process what I have, like, see, when I was a young kid, as a 7-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, I didn't know this craziness was going on in my life. But from teenage years onwards, I have observed similarly, like how this girl observed how her boyfriend's mother is. Slowly over time, the things have escalated. The things related to abuse escalated for her. And this is how it is with mentally ill people. Their abuse is never very apparent initially. Initially, she just will categorize, and everyone who listens to this story will categorize this mother-in-law, or let's categorize her as a mother-in-law, because I don't know how to what name to give to this lady. So this potential mother-in-law, she is going to be categorized initially when you meet her for the first time, or when outside family people are meeting her. Everyone who is this level mentally ill, they are not like completely dysfunctional. they're not a complete dysfunctional personality. And this mother-in-law, like every time, like when the cops are coming or some other people are intervening, you can see in the tale that she starts pretending to be nicer to people. So, or she starts pretending, and she even convinced this girl that she has changed, because this is how these mentally ill people are. Or they're not just mentally ill, they are usually high IQ, high EQ holding people. This is my personal experience of this personality type, and I have met a few of these personality types in different areas of my life. So these personality types usually have high IQ, high EQ. They can act about being very normal in front of strangers, in front of outside family people. They will be absolutely the sweetest people and mild people. They'll be like the Ted Bundy types, like how Ted Bundy could very easily, in front of women, when he was trying to kidnap women from grocery store parking lots, he would pretend in front of them that he's a frail old man or a frail man needing some help with his groceries, and then he would entice someone to help him out, and thinking that he's a very frail and dependent kind of a soul, a woman would come and help him and take put the grocery to help him put the groceries in his car or his van. And these Ted Bundy type personalities are usually this type. They will entice someone to help them, and while the person is helping them and using their goodness to arouse a helpful feeling out of someone, while they are doing that and enticing someone, and if the person is a little bit also careless or unaware, they can easily get kidnapped. This is how the kidnapper type personalities are. They are very good confidence artists, con artists. They know how to look frail and look vulnerable and pretend to be vulnerable in front of others. And this is where this boy also, even though his mother has insulted his girlfriend a couple of times, attacked the girlfriend also, before he could propose, she threw away the engagement ring, all these things that she's doing. And this is like, seriously, this 10-minute video is narrating something which has possibly happened to this girl's life for about 6 months or a year. But this kind of craziness, if she marries into the family, and if they are a very close-knit family, this will be a continuous thing in this girl's life if she marries this guy, because this is how crazy these people are. And the videos, if anyone who is a psychologist has studied gaslighting, manipulation, narcissistic abuse, Munchausen by proxy or factitious disorder related abuse, or even covert abuse, this is how the covert narcissistic abusers usually are with their daughter-in-laws, children, everyone. This mother-in-law is not simply abusive to the future daughter-in-law, she is also abusive to her children also. That's why in this video there is a very subtle hint of her being abusive to her children. Firstly, the boy knows his mother is abusive, or at least if he doesn't rationalize, or if he hasn't himself studied about this topic, for him it will not be perceived as my mother is abusive. If he is a very good kid, he might just perceive that his mother is a little hyperactive or a little bit out of the norm. That is what the child might be perceiving his mother to be, because it is also possible that all her abuse's primary victim might not even be at this point of time anyone except maybe his dad. But we don't know the dad's narrative. Maybe the dad also passed away after the being abused. We don't know what happened to the dad. But there's some of the characters who are present in this story. There are two sisters who are mentioned in the story, and in the sisters also, one of the sisters was asking the boyfriend that you should check your girlfriend's phone. Why is she doing that? This girl is doing that because if she has also been under subtle covert abuse by the mother, all the children who have been raised by this woman, firstly this woman herself has a little bit of paranoid way of looking at life, so that part mental illness that the mother has been passed on to the children also. It's just that the children may not have as strong of the abuse patterns or the narcissistic patterns as the mother may have. They might have 50% of those genes. So because of which the sister is also a little bit paranoid and asking the brother, you should check the phone. Now this girl is thinking, what have I done wrong that this family is behaving this way? And which is what happens also. If this was like a story of an Indian marriage, this girl would have already been married into this family, and she would have been experiencing these same incidences after being married, wondering, what did I do wrong? I'm not doing anything wrong. Even then they are making all these night comments, because say you've been married into a family for 5-10 years. After 5-10 years, sometimes the normal thing that people say, familiarity breeds contempt, that can happen, that after 5-10 years some grudges can happen between each other when normal humans are interacting, because difference of opinion is there, people are from different family backgrounds. After a few years of marriage, these kind of conflicts can happen in marriages. But when you're just initially being introduced to someone, when it is the first year of marriage or the first year of being introduced to a boyfriend's family, at that time, if people are doing these kind of behaviors where they are suddenly acting crazy and attacking you, it is not about familiarity at all. That is not at all something that the girl is doing that's making it personal. If this girl wasn't there, instead of this girl, this same boy, after say they break up, and after a year he brings another girlfriend home to introduce to his family, his mother would do this to the other girl also, because to the mother it is not personal who is coming to disrupt her family structure. For her, and especially the people who are very highly intelligent narcissistic abusers, see, every human being has a protective instinct in them. So because they have a protective instinct in them, and these people are highly intelligent, highly intuitive people as well, so they know that if any new people will be introduced to the family, immediately the outsider will see the masks that they wear outside and be able to distinguish that outside to the outside world, because narcissistic abusers are this way. They project an image to the outside world where everyone will think they are normal, or if not normal, they will just think they have some minor crazy issues with them occasionally. But or they might think, okay, this person is odd, because we all give benefit of doubt to many people. Even when Ted Bundy kidnapped all these women to rape them and murder them, at that time what is happening, those women who fell for his trap, they're all giving him the benefit of doubt. They're giving him the benefit of doubt that even if their instinct is saying that this guy might not be telling the truth, that he might be faking being frail and needing help, at that time they are all none of them were their instincts, they overrode their instincts. They thought, okay, let's give a benefit of doubt, he really needs help, let's help him out. Or they don't have that unsafety related instinct at all, maybe because they led a very sheltered life, or whatever reason, they were very distracted, that's why they didn't pay attention to the red flags. Because murderers, rapists, narcissistic people, they all show red flags. It's not that they're not showing the red flags to outsiders, it's just that their red flags are combined so much with acting and so much with pretending to be like a normal person, that their kind of mental illness is not easily detectable by most people. Like, they are not the kind of mentally ill person like Sheldon Cooper. Sheldon Cooper is not mentally ill, but he does have a social disorder, right? He has I think he's got autism or Asperger's, one of the, I think he has Asperger's. So Asperger's is a slightly abnormal behavior pattern in how he relates to other humans. He's not as emotional, right? So he doesn't have a mental illness, but he has something that you can categorize as a social illness, where socially he's not at the same social level of empathy as other people. For him to develop empathy, it takes time. He's a very logic oriented person and less emotionally oriented person, at least the character of Sheldon Cooper. But does that mean all autistic and Asperger's people will be like Sheldon Cooper? No. So there are many other autism spectrum, because it's a spectrum. There are other people who may also have this social illness of not being able to relate well with others, and they lack the emotional capacity to relate with another human being at a humane level. And because they do not relate well with another human being at the humane level, they are, if very smart, and also very cruel, or very darkness oriented, they also tend to become like this mother-in-law, or tend to become like the Ted Bundy like character. Because if people studied Ted Bundy or his progenies, or this mother and their progenies, they will figure out eventually that in their bloodline there will be people who will have these autism related, Asperger's related, social disconnectivity related, antisocial personality related, or narcissistic personality related behavioral patterns. Because the same thing is with narcissistic personality. Just only slight difference between narcissistic personality and a Sheldon Cooper like person. Even Sheldon Cooper is actually a little bit narcissistic. Everyone in Big Bang Theory, because they are highly intellectual and working in, like, I think MIT or something, right? They are working in some high profile university. They are professors and researchers in this high profile university. So every one of them has the capacity to be very highly narcissistic with their spouses or with their family. But because it's a storyline created for fun, and because it's a light-hearted way of looking at these characters, most of them don't seem to be narcissistic. The only one character in the story who is outrightly a little bit more narcissistic, and obviously a narcissistic, is, I think, the Jewish guy. I'm forgetting his name right now. My Wolowski, no, what is his name? I'm forgetting him. But his mother, his Jewish mother, who is never shown in the story, but the way she behaves with her kid, she is the one who also has some narcissistic personality traits in her. So she's the one who's openly narcissistic. The others, they have the potential to be narcissistic, but because they are all in a friendship group and they keep each other in check, they tease each other, they make fun of each other, they try to bring each other's narcissism down a little bit, that helps in keeping their narcissism at check. And they don't, none of their characters seem to have those narcissistic traits that could have been really toxic in a relationship, right? But if the same characteristic that each of these characters were showing, if these same characteristics were not only making them feel that they are very great and high, and they being high achievers, there's nothing wrong in them thinking that they are intellectually higher than other people. That is not narcissism. If you are intellectually smarter than others, that is just the reality of things. You are smarter. But if you are smarter, but out of that smartness you don't develop the empathy for someone who isn't as smart, which these characters did have the empathy. They had empathy for Penny. Penny is a hot girl, that's why they had that empathy maybe. But at least with Penny, who is not as intellectually superior as them, they never insulted her. They also acknowledged that Penny has some characteristics that they can also learn from Penny, right? So that's where they are different. They are not narcissistic. But a narcissistic person, if they meet a person like Penny, they will always degrade her, demean her. If they make fun also of her not understanding their high scientific data, they will do it in a way that is very insulting to her, that will make her feel bad about her lack of education and things like that. That is how a narcissistic personality behaves. Now, when that narcissistic personality is combined with antisocial personality, that's when those narcissistic people will also, if it is a Penny like character, they will not only attack her verbally, but they will then start attacking and doing sabotaging things related to Penny's life, and deliberately harming her, which is how this girl, who is like a penny like girl in front of this mother-in-law who is highly intellectual, because she's not just intellectual, she's very smart. Like at a party when everyone is enjoying, most people will think it's a family gathering, everything is going to be safe, I'm with family, none of the people are going to check their purses and wallets and things like that, right? But here the mother-in-law is a sneaky, highly smart person. She goes and easily gets the wallet of this girl, purse of this girl, so that because she wants to run a background check. But that is what she is given as an excuse to her son. Many people don't understand this also. Narcissistic and antisocial personality related peoples, they are highly intellectual, but their mental illness is that they will use all the information they get from your purse, get from your phone, all the information that they gather from this woman, her personal information, they will use to harm them. And that is what happened to this girl. Her phone number was put on Craigslist under solicitation related stuff. She were fake profiles were created against her online by this narcissistic person and antisocial person. And it is not necessary that the mother did it. Even the sisters could have done it, because if they have the same genes as the mother, part of the things could have been done by the mother, part of the things could have been done by the sister also. Because the sister is also telling, right, check her phones. Why is the sister telling that? And if this incidents, and these are the things that don't occur when we are going through an experience with someone, when you are in love with someone. Is this girl really sitting and thinking these? No. I also, when I went through such kind of experiences with these kind of toxic antisocial personalities or narcissistic personalities, while I was going through the thing with them, I was like, this girl, I just thought it is just something simple that is happening to me, or these people are just a little bit odd in their behavioral patterns. But later on, after I had reflected back, when those people have gone no contact because of whatever life circumstance based reasons, some of these people were my friends who went away because they got a job somewhere else. Some of these people, I moved away from the city that they were living in. Sometimes it was some incidences that didn't happen to me personally, but I know people who were in marriages like this, and once they have gone away from their marriages, they are not facing these kind of incidences in their marriages. But what about the people who are still stuck in these marriages, who are still contemplating, like this girl, what should she do, whether she should stay in this marriage or not? And not marriage, but she's been engaged to him now, she is also pregnant, so she's wondering what she should do. And she has to be very careful now that she's pregnant. If she manages to keep the baby, she has to make sure that the baby gets psych evaluation, not immediately, but if the baby is not showing normal behavioral patterns after a certain age, that baby also, like the child, 8-10 years old child, might have to be monitored after 8-10 years for, or even before, it depends, because how much of the narcissism, antisocial personality behavior, if she doesn't marry this person at all and just leads her own life, a little bit of the environmental influence of this toxic potential grandmother will not be there in her life. The father also, having been raised by such a mother, he also has some toxicity. That also toxicity won't come to the child if this woman never marries this guy. But if she ends up marrying him and raising the child in the same home as the mother-in-law, or the mother-in-law gets some supervision of the child occasionally, because if he convinces her that his mother is fine and normal and other things like that, if he manages to convince her that and she, out of emotional pull towards him, goes back to him, what will happen to her and the child is, the child will be more influenced than by the toxicity of this particular family. Which, this is just, this 10-minute video is just a glimpse of what happens in such toxic families. People just don't know how bad it is in families like this, how bad it is to even have people like this as your friends. Because I have had those experiences where after like 5-10 years of not being friends with them anymore, I'm realizing that some food they gave me was poisoned and I was drugged by them. Why I was drugged? Because later on I figured out they could have taken some egg samples from me, because they were going to all these weird things these people do. One person wanted to do some experiment, another person wanted eggs because they didn't have possibly their eggs. It's not something they have told me, and in order to prove this claim I will have to go through legal channels. But I don't want to go through all this crap, because even if I have to prove all these things, as I said, I have already many other problems in my life. So you can solve, if you have 10 problems in your life, you can only solve one problem at a time. You can't solve 10 problems at a time, right? So if at this part which I'm talking about, where I know that they might have taken my egg samples uh, based on how they behaved with me in interaction of the past, or that they have families who have done this to other women. And this is what narcissistic personality also does. When you reveal to them that maybe potentially you are doing something like this to a woman, or you've been unfair to a woman, they immediately will counter attack you, immediately will counter accuse you, immediately will gaslight you, and saying that whatever you are claiming is false. And yes, maybe it is just like this girl, what she has done, she has right now the visible proof that she had a black eye, or that clumps of hair had been pulled, and that she had been attacked, or some visible proof of her attack had happened. That's why she was easily able to get the restraining order. But some of these people, if especially they are men, because men are a little bit more emotionally able to be stoic than women, and men are able to be even more emotionally be coldly calculative than women. So if they are more masculine energy oriented female, or if they are a man with these similar mother-in-law like traits, they can coldly and calculatingly plan things against this girl, which the mother-in-law partly did also. Planning meaning, when this girl is speculated here in this story, that when the ring was thrown in the storm drain and city people came to check the storm drain to figure out if any rings were stuck anywhere, and they couldn't find it, and this girl is suspecting that maybe the ring was not even thrown in the storm drain. Her instinct could be very well be right. Of course, to prove such a thing will take probably 5 years or 10 years or many years before the mother-in-law will show that ring one fine day, or she might even sell it off to someone else. That could happen. But this speculation is not a false speculation, because narcissistic people and antisocial people who are highly intelligent can do all these. They are very quick with their hands also. So this girl, her instinct is saying this because, again, like how she said, there was a smirk one time when the mother-in-law had insulted her the first time. These people have these very subtle micro expressions on their faces that can show up when they have done something, and a look of glee shows up in their face. And a few minutes back in this video I had, when I was saying about 10 challenges are going on and this smile was coming up in my face, it's because right now some energetic garbage is going on with me. So there's someone who watches me, I know that. And anyways, that is a different issue, and I have seriously multiple level challenges. And even the most provable person who has narcissistically abused me, when I have tried to file reports against them, I couldn't file reports in India. This country's legal systems are so challenging, and I don't understand how to file reports against such people, and it's very difficult there. She had personally been attacked and had physical proof, that's why she could do it. And the crazy person with whom I live, sometimes that crazy person is so crazy. One day I'm sitting in this room like this and making videos or watching videos, that I hear some noise happening in the kitchen, and that crazy person, next few hours later I find them with a big black eye. This is also what narcissistic and antisocial people who are coldly calculating people do also. Someone who's that mentally ill, they will injure themselves in front or behind the scenes and then go and make false claim as well. This is the level of madness of antisocial people who do not care what happens to them. And some of them, when they have reached the 60-70 years of age, by then they don't care, because by then they have got away with abusing many people subtly, covertly, overtly, in hidden ways, in ways where people didn't even realize they were being abused. Like her son doesn't realize he's getting abused by his mother, but he will not realize it until another 10 years, or if another 1-2 girls decide to get engaged to him or married to him, and he has a crashing relationship with them, because his mother-in-law, who has done this hiding of the ring, who has also, if not hiding, she has definitely thrown the ring, right? Because she doesn't want other people to be happy, because these people are that personality types. They get so jealous when they see someone else's happiness. They are not able to take this other person's happiness at all, or they take someone else's happiness as their lack of happiness, when it is not the truth. Someone else's happiness is not their lack of happiness. In fact, if her son is happy, she doesn't realize that if her son is happy, daughter is happy, she gets a grandkid, if they are all happy, it is supposed to add to her happiness. But they are that level mentally and socially ill. They do not realize that when family is happy, it is also about their happiness when your family is happy. But they don't get that, and instead they have this very very zero sum kind of personality trait, where they view life that if you are happy means that I am unhappy, when that is also not true. If there are 10 friends of mine, and I have had so many friends who got married, who got engaged before me, if they are all married and engaged before me, does their getting married and engaged before me detract from my happiness of being married and engaged? No, it doesn't. Yes, I might feel sad that they got married before me. There could have been a little bit competition that they are all my age, or sometimes some people younger than me got married before me. I could be sad at that level. But them being happily married means that they will be happy. If they are happy, then they'll spread the happiness. If they spread the happiness, then I would be naturally be happy when they are spreading the happiness, right? But there are many people, and yes, you might have some occasional jealousies, occasional rivalries, like who got married first, who had the child first, and all these things can happen to someone's life. But even when this minor occasional things happen, which all of us have flaws and all of us do this, that if we have 10 friends, out of 10 friends invariably there would be one friend whose achievement we may not be able to support or take. But with a antisocial personality or a narcissistic antisocial personality plus other mental illness holding person, they are jealous of everyone. It's not just the out of 10 people, one person makes them feel like that. Almost nearly everyone makes them feel like that. They will look for excuses to feel like that also sometimes. Like this mother-in-law is constantly insulting this girl, like say like she was the most patient Buddha like person. So for if she marries into this family, and say for 10 years she continues to be the most patient daughter-in-law for her, after the 10th year, if say one fine day she crashes and says something bad to the mother-in-law, or does something that seems insulting for the mother-in-law, the mother-in-law will then say, I was right. Like for 10 years also, or 20 years, or throughout your life with that mother-in-law, if you are the best and most dutiful mother-in-law, she will not give credit to the daughter-in-law for being good. Or when one fine day the daughter-in-law makes a mistake, that mistake will be used against her to justify all the negative things the mother-in-law has been doing until then with that girl. This is how these antisocial personality people are. And then when they directly attack, like she has directly attacked in front of family, in family gathering. She has attacked by coming into her home and pretending to make up things with her and then attacking her. And she actually must have even planned to come and attack her. She was just looking for one. Sometimes some of these crazy people look for excuses to do this. Like she could have, when she went to this girl's house to patch up things, while on the front she's saying that I'm coming to patch up, in the background these people who are like highly intellectually Sheldon Cooper like smart people, they are actually not doing what they are saying that they have come to do. So she could have just come there to pretend to patch up, and then the Christmas tree was just an excuse for her. If that day there was no Christmas tree in that house, and if that day it was some other day, that months before Christmas where no Christmas tree was there, then also she would have ended that conversation with this daughter-in-law with a false attack on her nature, character, something. And that day she had come only to find some flaw with that girl, and she would have gone back. If she wouldn't have attacked her, she would have definitely still gone back home and said some false things to her son. Because after this incident only, and after this girl had complained about and filed for restraining orders, the son started supporting his mother. So these people who are doing this, these people who are this level crazy and who plan and plot all these steps of how they will ruin someone else's relationship, because they do that. They literally sit and try to plot and plan how to ruin someone. Like how it is entertainment for someone to play chess, it's like that. They make these chess like moves against someone, and the victim usually doesn't know that this is happening. I know this, or I understand this, and that's why I'm trying to explain it in this video. Because for that girl, the way the incidents has been narrated, it has played out this way. In front of her, this is what has happened, but behind the scenes, what is going on in the sick brains of these people who do these kind of things, only if you have lived with them for many years, or you've met multiple such type of personalities in your life, then only you will understand really what level crazy they are, which normal people don't understand even when they listen to these stories. Even though red flags of this mother-in-law planning these are present in everywhere in the story. And how she will be planning, she definitely used that incident first in front of the cops. Also she tried to pretend to be innocent, but how she has been pretending in front of the cops, 10 times more she might have pretended in front of her own son. She might have also told lies, like how this girl likely never insulted her mother-in-law in any way, like how this girl's red colored hair, about the carpet matching the whatever stupid stuff she said, I'm forgetting the dialogue, but like how the mother-in-law is like snidely insulting and saying such wild stuff to the girl. That girl might be very innocent, and she might not have even expressed ever any such words like this to the mother-in-law. But the mother-in-law is that personality type who will say these words and make up these words that she said all these things to me. And the son will not know. She can say anything to the son. Son will not know what is the truth, what is not the truth. And because he has been raised by this mother, his critical reasoning skills about when his mother is lying and when she is not lying will also be sometimes very distorted. Unless you have done high degree of counseling, unless the son had like 10-20 years of life away from this mother, unless the son had like other parents and grandparents or caretakers who had given him a good framework of what is normal behavior, what is abnormal behavior, if those reference points have not been there in this guy's life, he will never have the capacity to even discern where the covert abuse, gaslighting, manipulation, lies are and betrayal related things are happening with him. He will not know, but this is also an example of a betrayal trauma that is playing out in his life. He just doesn't know the extent of betrayal that is going on, and by the time he will realize it, maybe 10 years 5 years down the line, after being married 2-3 times or having a couple of broken relationships, then he will eventually realize it. And by then the mother-in-law would have not only just simply attacked this one girl or a couple of other girls, she could have lied about other women. She could have again same way posted all these phone numbers of those women also online on Craigslist and things like that, and led to some of those women getting raped or attacked by someone who saw them online. These things can also happen, because this is the level of danger such mentally ill people put other people in, when their personal information is easily at access for them, right? And these are highly intelligent people. They are not like those kind of mentally ill people whose thinking capacity is dimmed. They are not those kind of mentally ill people whose functional capacity as an adult itself is at not the level where they will be going out and doing normal functions as a normal adult. These people are highly intellectual people who look like normal people, but they do not have normal people like emotions, remorse, guilt, consciousness, conscientiousness. So they will do whatever they think is the right thing to do, and which is where the mental illness is. They do not have morals. Many of them don't really believe in God. Like, even though she's saying so many things about God here, like but is she really behaving like a true Christian? Right? She's not behaving like a true Christian. Well, a true Christian in Christianity, I'm not a Christian, but I do love Jesus and I do love Christian teachings. And in all those teachings, when people are talking about Philistines and pagans and other, people who are not Christian, even there it is written, I can't quote the text because I'm not a quoter of particular words and sentences and texts and verses, but all I understood from the spirit of Christianity is that in Christianity everyone is accepted. So anyone who was not Christian before can become a Christian anytime in the future. Right? So even if the girl said she's never been that religious and she's practicing Christmas, there's nothing to be upset about it from the mother-in-law's perspective. There are so many people who are not Christian who also celebrate Christmas as a communal activity as well, not simply just from the religious perspective, right? So her getting upset about these small things are just the initial red flags. She is just looking for excuse to be upset with someone. If the girl was Christian and like the Bible verse reading Christian from the Bible Belt of US, even that girl, if the boy brings even that perfect role model girl as his future girlfriend, again with that girlfriend she will find something else. Maybe that girlfriend, if she doesn't want to have kids, she will start making that comparison then with the first girlfriend, that she was ready to give me a grandchild, you're not even willing to give me a grandchild. Or if that girl is super smart in something, she will use that, anything that is positive about another person, she will use it against them to make it seem like a negative. Because this girl having red hair also, right, when she insulted her about her red hair makes some people very super attractive, because red hair is not the norm, that's the anomaly. So very few percentage of people in the world have red hair, so it makes her naturally very attractive. But the same thing that makes this girl naturally very attractive is the same thing that the mother-in-law know. And these people who are narcissistic, antisocial personality, they know the impact a attractive person is having over in the world. She knows the impact this girl is having on her son. but she doesn't want that impact. So that's why they are always at a preemptive strike. They are like war war generals, always like preemptively striking against something which this girl is not even at a war with this woman. But with these antisocial personalities, narcissistic personalities, there's always a silent war going on in their garbage brain. You don't understand the level of garbage these people think, the level of machinations they are capable of doing, and the level of harm they do to a child if they actually have a grandchild, that grandchild, and if she ever gets custody of that grandchild in the future, that grandchild is going to have the most nightmare life and not even realize until 20-30 years have passed how much of covert abuse was going on. Because some of the covert abuse of these manipulators doesn't happen in front of you because it's covert, right? So what they will be doing is behind your back they'll be socially isolating you. Like if this woman marries into this family, inside the family you're seeing all these big large family gatherings, everyone is being very friendly and everything, but while these gatherings are happening, these people are going and will be tapping into their computer. Like say you're a busy working professional, you come there with your computers, they'll be tapping and hacking into your computers. And this has literally happened to me. My phone has been tapped and hacked, and by people I have trusted, they have done that to me. They've hacked my phone, someone has hacked my computer one time, someone has done, I don't know what crap has gone behind my back. I simply do not know, but intuitively, and I didn't know when this was happening that this is what it was happening. Only 10 years later, 20 years later, I'm realizing what level of covert abuse, narcissistic abuse, subtle, unknown to me betrayals were going on in my life. And because of which I'm completely isolated from people. Sometimes people are not able to reach me, sometimes people who want to help me don't understand how to help me because they do not understand the level of craziness I have withstood, I'm still withstanding. Whether I will be able to withstand it for how long, that also some days I do not know. And despite me having escaped many other overt abusive situations in my life. So this girl, if this girl's story or any other girl who is going through this story is wondering what they should do, they should definitely not get back to this guy, because if he is not supporting her before marriage, the possibility of his mind getting fucked further and his mind getting twisted further into thinking bad about her is going to go from, this is like, if she thinks this is the lowest point of her relationship with this boy, this is actually the highlight of the highest point possible with this family, seriously speaking. Because the highlight was when the boy supported her those 2 times when the mom was insulting him. That is the highlight she will have in her life with this boy. The 2 times he supported her before the engagement when she was insulting about her red hair, these are the only 2 times he supported her. After that he hasn't been supporting, or he doesn't trust her instinct. This is how their life will be constantly for decades of their life. She will not get any say in the family things. Even if she gets some say, 1 out of 4 times or 5 times or 10 times only she will be considered. And whatever garbage lie the mother-in-law will say, most of the time the son will believe that garbage, most of the time. And this is the most highly toxic abuse from in-law kind of a scenario that has played to this girl before her marriage. That's why she is lucky. If she dodges this bullet, she'll be the luckiest girl possible. But if she doesn't dodge this bullet, if she falls into the emotional trap that she feels for this guy and gets married into this family for the sake of her child, she will not be able to escape the narcissistic abuse levels and antisocial personality abuse related torture that she will suffer, half of which she will not even realize if she dies. Because there are many stories of other Indian women who have had these kind of marriages, because in India we don't even have these dating phases. So in India, many people just get married after meeting someone once or twice, or for being engaged for 6 months, and then they get married, and they do not have any clue about the narcissistic levels of abuse that their in-laws are planning for them, because some of these people are highly intellectual Sheldon Cooper level people who are planning, literally planning from the day they have seen you. They are planning, like they've analyzed you. They are highly, not just Sheldon Cooper is only intellectually logical, reasoning wise highly intellectual, but emotional intelligence, he has less emotional intelligence, and his perception of humans is also very less. But a Sheldon Cooper like person with also good skills of understanding and analyzing other human beings. These people are highly intelligent in analyzing other human beings, understanding other human beings, knowing what are your hot button issues, what are your trigger issues, what are your insecurities, and they'll play against your insecurities, against your hot button issues. And when you do not even have a chink in your armor, they will create fake scenarios about you, just simply to crash you or crush you or make you look like the villain in front of the people that they have been associated with for so many years. And when there are two people, when this boy, he knows his mother possibly for 30 years of his life, so he is going to trust his mother only for those 30 years that he has known her. Very rarely, if he had other exposure to outsiders other than his mother, would he be able to perceive also the extent of narcissistic abuse his mother will put through to this girl. And not just abuse, this woman, because she has attacked this girl already, she is very capable also in the future of, this girl's instinct is absolutely right. This lady has this cruelty in her to be able to even kill the baby or harm the baby once the baby is born, and if she ever gets babysitting rights also for the baby. That is the level of madness these people have. People do not understand this, but I have faced this many a times. I'll tell you one time, this I didn't realize it when I was younger and I was a teenager, and my mother had passed away. And after that, because my mother had passed away, for suddenly all my father's side cousins decided that year that they are coming to Mumbai for visiting us. And when they came that year, I don't know what had when I look at my pictures from that year, I look like a fat girl and I look pregnant in those pictures. And I never realized that I was pregnant in my 20s. Okay, I never realized it. But I look pregnant in that picture. And when a woman is pregnant, if you have seen how Deepika Padukone, the current actress, she's pregnant, and when she's walking, or have you seen Alia Bhatt when she's walking, and they were in the later months of their pregnancy, they're all waddling along, right, shuffling along and waddling around when they are walking, because they are pregnant and because they are like a rolled up ball, like person, because their stomach is so full with a growing baby. So I was like that, I was waddling, and in one of these trips my father suddenly like pushed me from behind in the pictures that we were taking, family pictures we were taking, and it was like a stone stepped place. So because it was a a place with stones, and it was a completely stony area. We had gone to Ajanta, Ellora, and in Ellora, because it was a stony area, when he pushed me, if my aunt hadn't caught me, or a couple of people who were standing besides me hadn't caught me, I would have immediately fallen down that ground. And I didn't know that I was pregnant. I didn't realize I was pregnant. Now 25 years later, when I saw those pictures, I realized that I might have been pregnant at that time. I used to have regular periods, but at that time, because my mother had passed away and it had only been like a year and a half since she had passed away, I might have not been tracking my periods. So it is possible that I was pregnant and I just didn't track my periods. But how did I get pregnant? That is that different story of where I said now people might have drugged me and done something to me. This is one of those areas that the person who has caretaken me has done, like person who I trust. Like I never imagined this crap was going on with me. Even it took me 25 years to realize this crap was going on with me. And the weirdest thing is, definitely I was drugged even at that time when these family had come to visit me, because until recently when I went back to Ellora a few years back, and I had even before that, like I have been in India for about 9 years, and in this 9 years, one time some of my college classmates wanted to go to Ajanta and Ellora. At that time also I didn't remember I had gone to Ellora, and for me it was like, oh yeah, I want to go to Ajanta and Ellora, I want to see those paintings and carvings and all these. This is what I told that friend, and the plan didn't work out because of the number of days they wanted to go and the number of days I wanted to go, so we didn't do that trip. Then a few years down the line, another friend whose in-laws lived near that area, I didn't even know that her in-laws lived near that area. I just went to visit my friend at her in-laws place. And that's when I went to visit my friend at her in-laws place, they said that Ajanta, Ellora being very close to her home, she wanted to take that trip. So when I went to Ellora, even then I didn't remember that I had been to Ellora. Afterwards, after a few months, when I had gone to visit my cousins in Kolkata, I found a picture that has been taken in similar place where I took pictures with my friend's family. That's when I remember, oh my god, 25 years back, I had gone to Ellora. And now, like there was a span of about 20 years that I have not been there, but for 20 years my memory didn't even have this memory that I had been there. So definitely I was drugged even in those trip times. And this is the thing, I have been drugged, hypnotized, I don't know what has been done to me and what kind of experimentations people have done on me, but people who are narcissistic abusers, they do this. Antisocial personality narcissistic abusers, people who don't really care about their family, people who only care about themselves, they do these things to their own family, and they also will do it to their future progeny. So imagine if I was pregnant, I don't know what happened to that child, because I didn't realize I was pregnant at that time. Only now, looking at my picture from that time, I'm thinking I might have been pregnant. And again, to prove that or disprove that, right now the level of crap that's going on in my life, even to prove or disprove this, the level of things I need to prove and disprove this is too much. And my family is also so ashamed of whatever they have done behind my back. None of them are willing to tell the truth, say the truth, explain what they have seen of the truth, because many a times narcissistic abusers and enablers of abuse work cohesively together to abuse someone, where the enablers didn't realize that this highly intelligent and IQ EQ holding person was manipulating them into abusing someone else. So this is abuse, because I have always wanted to be a mother. I would have loved to be a mother. At a time I was going to US, but I would have not had any problems being a single mother also to a kid. For whatever reason I was a mother, I don't know, but I think some experimentation was done which led to this pregnancy, and all these things, whatever it is that they was done to me, because I didn't know this was being done to me, because none of my consent was also taken against, like if I had been pregnant, if the child was born, who took the child, where the child was raised, I have no clue about that child. God has been present in my life. So this part, though clicking together that I could have been potentially pregnant and I could potentially have given birth to a child, this part came to me through guided insights from God than any family ever telling this to me. or and not just guided insights, but also from the pictures that I see of myself and how I used to walk at that time, how groggy I have felt and my memory was gone. And the first two videos that I made about the guy Trey or the other girl who's narrated that her memory has gone away, that's why I understand that that is a red flag. If a child doesn't remember, if an adult doesn't remember certain sections of years of their life or months or even one day of their life, that one day is enough for a narcissistic, covert, antisocial personality like abuser to ruin everything about you. Even just one day is enough. This girl, this mother-in-law in this tale, she just needed 1 hour to ruin this girl's life. 1 hour, she just needed 1 hour of attacking, where the girl, obviously she should place a restraining order, but in that 1 hour that she attacked, or whatever, 1 or 2 hours, let's say, and then the 1-2 hours she took to tell some false tale to the son, that's all that was needed to break their relationship. And even if the son doesn't say, if he hadn't trusted his mom and he had trusted his girlfriend and had supported the girlfriend against the restraining order, even that level son, if he had continues with this girlfriend for many years and they get married and everything, these people are so highly intelligent, and sometimes they also have what do you call, hypnotism related capabilities also. So they can use, not simply the ordinary level people will use lies, a little bit extraordinary level people will use covert manipulation tactics, and then the highest level Ted Bundy like people, they also use hypnotism to change the mind of a person who loves someone else. They do that also. And then there's also spiritual warfare oriented stuff that I will not go into, but there are multi levels of interference these highly intellectual and emotionally understanding about a personality person is capable of doing. They are the same people who in some other life could have been like highly revered for what they were doing, but in this particular life they are the kind of people who are ready to ruin relationships than help people build relationships. For them it is a fun activity, like how it is fun for us to see someone else. Sometimes, when you crack jokes and you're pranking someone, if the person is of a good humor person or not being feeling tortured or something, they will also laugh at the joke that was cracked on them, right? But if that person was sick or having a bad day or something else was going on in their life, many people are also capable of not enjoying a joke played on them, right? These people are like that. For them it's a joke they are playing on other humans, and their joke, they have a very high level of twisted thinking that how much ever I explain, unless you go through the abuse of such a person, only those who have gone through this kind of covert abuse, manipulative abuse, gaslighting related abuse, and abuse where the betrayals that have happened to them have happened many a times behind their conscious knowledge, that kind of abuse, you just don't know what repercussions. Like, I don't even know how to grieve for the fact that I have kids, I've given birth to 20 years 25 years back. I don't know how to grieve for it. I don't know what to feel about it. I don't know how different my life would have been if I could have raised those kids, because I've always been isolated, socially isolated, led a very lonely life. So if I had a kid, I think my life would have been very different. If that kid also but I also don't know whether they got a better life being adopted by someone else, because if they were being raised by this toxic personality with mental illness, that child's brains also could have been as distorted as this boy's is, and he could have also got is highly manipulated psychologically by my dad. Like how my brother, I know my brother is psychologically manipulated a little bit, or something has been done to him also, I feel, hypnotism wise. Same thing I think happened with my mother also one time, I feel. But these are all suspicions, and I have not physically seen this happen, because I have not physically seen this happen, and some of these have been happening energetically, in the sense like I intuitively knew something wrong was going on. But even the things that I have been eyewitness to, even those eyewitness narrations of mine have not been given credence, because this is how these highly intellectual manipulators are. They can spin the kind of narratives that everyone will believe, because they are highly intelligent about understanding human nature. They're like Amy level. If you've watched Gone Girl, Amy is also this mother-in-law level. If this Amy gives birth to that child in that end of the story of Gone Girl, when Amy was saying she's pregnant, if she gives birth to a child and that child is a son, it could very well be the story of Amy and her son that is playing out in this girlfriend's narrative now. It's that level of personality types exist, and they don't get diagnosed. Or even if they get diagnosed, if they are highly smart, highly intelligent, anyone who has cracked their mask, who has understood this person is psychotic or mentally ill or something, if the person who has understood this about them, the highly intelligent narcissistic antisocial personality like person like Amy, is capable of even plotting and planning a murder in front of the cameras, like how it was done to Desi in the Gone Girl movie. That level they can do it. And she can definitely, this mother-in-law, if she definitely has custody of this kid, she's capable of doing it. If this mother-in-law doesn't even get custody of the baby, she's capable of saying all kinds of rubbish lies, like how with Trey in that first video that I made, in that teenage boy Trey, how a dog was chewing all the clothes and everything, and he was blamed for being a pervert. This mother-in-law is very capable of doing that also. She could take some pictures of this girl while she's sleeping. If she has even copied the keys to the girl's house, she could go and go to the girl, take some pictures of the girl, post it online, and create as many kinds of rubbish havoc about her as possible. And she will not even know, because she doesn't have this kind of a brain, right? For her, she's just leading a normal life. Like for me also, I never knew, like for 25 years, that this kind of garbage was going on, but it kept repeatedly happening to me. One with my dad, one with other people, like that 2-3 people have repeatedly done something that finally God said, wake up, this has been going on behind your back in your life. And then I saw all these videos, and I'm realizing there are other people like me who are going through the same problems that I have been going through, and most of them are as clueless as me. It took me 25 years to figure this one pregnancy related mystery out, 25 years to figure out, 35 years to figure out what was going on with my mother before she died and after she died. Like that, there are so many other instances of crap that I have tolerated in my life. And I will say crap only because you cannot call crap anything except crap is crap. You can't call shit anything other than that it is shit or crap. These are the words you have to use. So when you are abused, other people can misread it and think that I am making up tales or be trying to be a damsel in distress, but I'm not the damsel in distress kind. And for 20 years I've been trying to, or in the ever since I realized some of these things related to the pregnancy and all this shit, I've been trying to not be a victim. But there is no way that I wasn't a victim in all the things that have happened in my past, that I don't even know about 50 to 90% of the things that have happened behind my back. So anyways, what I have realized, even the 10% thing that I've realized, like how this 10-minute video I'm making into this 1 hour expansion of what was going on realistically with that girl. And I'm telling you, this is realistic. This is her future if she continues with this man. And even if she doesn't continue, even then, what I have told you here, part of this can still unfold for her, because when these people are crazy, they don't let you go also sometimes. Even if you escape the relationship, even if she moves out of town and goes to another town, if they are highly intelligent, if they have high degree some contacts and other friends and social groups, they will use those social groups also to harass this girl and her life. So her life, if these people like this mother-in-law, if they don't get arrested, don't get institutionalized, don't have some repercussions for the things they are doing to someone, they simply keep getting away with many crimes without normal people understanding that, because many normal people keep forgiving them for their crimes. Like how the boy is saying, do not take away the case that you have put against my mother. Like that, many other people would have also, before this girl was attacked, they have also possibly done this and not put any case against this mother, because this is how it works, and this is how some really highly crazy people get away with murder in real life. This is not a fictional tale. That girl's story is as real as my story is, though for many people it seems fictional. It is not fictional. And again, if anyone has any questions on what I have presented here, please drop a comment. And I'm not telling this from perspective of any psychologist or sociologist, but I'm telling it from the perspective of a person who's still going through this abuse, and I have no way out, because I'm facing multi-level abuse from multiple different things, and not just abuse but other social challenges. So because of the which place I should get out of first, I have no idea. I have tried my best to get out of many things using the legal system, social system, friends network, but none of them have worked out or panned out for me. So until they pan out, I'm making these videos because this is the only thing left to do, and after that everything is, I have left to God and things working out in the way they can work out possibly currently in my life. So again, if you have, and this is where some people who get trapped in families like this, who are innocent people, who do not understand this level of craziness other people can have, sometimes when you get trapped into a family like this, it's very hard to get out of their snares, especially if they are socially connected, politically connected, monetarily connected, and people believe the abuser more than if they believe the victim. And this is just, in this instance, she had a mark on her face, that's why she was believed. But if she didn't have a mark on her face, and if even after that, if this person is highly intellectual, the mother-in-law, she can build up many other nasty things for this girl, which she's already done by posting her phone number on Craigslist and endangering her to predators by posting her number. So these are all very highly clever and highly calculatingly boring kind of personalities, and they're worse than some warring generals. Even warring generals sometimes will have some empathy inside them, where before, like every one of us might have heard this, like when Hillary Clinton was pushing that button to war against somewhere, and she was shocked and people were very surprised at her humanity. But that is the humanity you should have. Even when you're striking against the enemy, you should be humane enough to feel remorse, feel guilt after you have stricken someone. Also, you should have some remorse, guilt, sadness, some humanity in you. But these people do not have that. They very rarely, most of them pretend to have that. They are really not remorseful. They are really not regretful about any harm they put another person through, any kind of psychological harm, physical harm, any kind of harm they do, the relationship harm that they do to another. For them it is a game, for them it is an amusing thing. Again, if you have any questions, please drop me a comment. Thank you.